Arts Center, Highland Park. Welcome. We are beginning a program called Talking With, and today I have the privilege of talking with artist Cleveland Dean. Cleveland's a Chicago artist who is going to be exhibiting with us this March. We are thrilled and excited to have him. So instead of me giving you his background, I'm going to let him speak for himself. So Cleveland, give us a little background, how you got into art, where you're from, just a little, tidbit.
Well, first, thank you. Thank you for the invite to be part of this space and this lineage and give me the opportunity to exhibit my work. Well, I am originally from the far south side. I live in Streeterville now. I have been to some degree and extent in the arts my entire life. I mean, I was the kid at like 4 years old, 5 years old, like begging my parents to take me to the Art Institute. So it's always been an interest. I drew photorealistic from a very early age. I tried my hand at graffiti. I was the world's worst graffiti artist.
Why is that?
I just was not good at all. And on paper, yes. On the wall, no.
Yeah.
But then, art took a back seat because of life and kids and such. And then around the age of 30, I was attempting to figure out life and what it is I was supposed to be doing. And I was working corporate sales, and my sales manager, the last day that I worked there, sales manager came to me and was like, you know what, you're really good at sales, you just have to figure out what you want to sell. And I realized then that the one product, the one thing that I knew the most was myself. So I had to figure out some kind of way, because I've had this creativity through arts and music my whole life. So I had to figure out some kind of way to manifest my sensibilities, my histories, what it is I've gone through, the things that I've learned, and try to formulate that in some kind of creative way, because this creative itch would not die. And so literally, I had wanted to collect work, wasn't able to at a certain time. So I literally did a piece, period, just to hang in the house. And I would have people over and they would see this particular piece and they were like, okay, who are you collecting now? And I was like, well, no, that's me. And people encouraged me to put the work out there, and then just my business acumen and hustle mentality and just ability to see that, wait a minute, I could in totality do what I want to do when I want to do it, still be able to make a living, but then able to inspire people and encourage people and give them something that they can gain some kind of joy from. So I literally, I strongly believe that you don't submit to anything except God and your purpose. And God, no matter what God or deity you believe in, gives you that purpose. And I dedicated myself to the arts, and now 17 years later, I'm still going and still nowhere near where I want to be.
Well, I know you're going to get there, that's for sure. So I read somewhere that you were very into philosophy too.
Yeah.
I come at my own work from that sensibility. Can you speak to that a little? Like, how were you even introduced to philosophy? How did you find your way into that world, and how does that influence your work?
I was a weird kid. That's what I did. I was a weird kid. I was and still am, always been a nerd. I was like 10, 11 years old. My friends are reading Spider-Man and comic books. I'm reading Nietzsche and Freud and Teilhard and Jung.
Wow.
And I was, because that's what interested me, and what I would look outside my window and I'd see people and I'd see how some people react to something and how other people react to the exact same thing. And there would be such a disparity, and I wanted to understand why people do that from a very, very early age.
Did you have like a mentor or somebody who exposed you to it? Like how did you just find them even?
I was always a curious kid, and then very early age, and especially with reading, because I used to do a lot of reading. And my parents would encourage me reading. They would like give me a book, and I would like be done with it in a day.
Wow.
And then asking them like, I want another book. So I'm one of the few people that I know that from front to back have read the entire set of encyclopedia.
Have you really?
I've done that twice.
Wow. That's
And then I did the dictionary, I think, once, or like 1.5 times. And this is all before the age of like 15.
Wow.
So like, I always wanted knowledge, and then how to apply it and begin to formulate my own philosophy and psychology based off of that. And I realized that, there's these psychological elements, these sociological elements, various histories, various influences, caste and class statuses, all the stuff that drive people. So what I wanted to do with my work is, first and foremost, all my work, if it could be summed up in one word, is duality. I'm religiously pragmatic. So I look at the positive side or this side and the negative side of this side, and I do everything that I can to be in the middle. Knowing these sides very well, and knowing how people or even myself can veer to one side or the other, but maintain in the middle, because the middle is where the solution is, vast majority of the time.
So because I'm familiar with your work, just to give a little feedback to visually what that means. So Cleveland will take his work and he will use multiple materials and burn it, and so there's layers and layers and layers of both material, content, and feeling, really. So if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, because I don't, me personally, with my work, I don't necessarily like flat depictions. I don't like this definition 2D. To me, I feel like, even with my work, the vast majority of my work is vertical based, because I feel like when you're looking at the piece is also looking at you. It's its own life force as I am. So we're sort of standing mano a mano here. With the texture, I like different perspectives to be able to be gained from the piece, whether it be degrees of light coming in and how shadows are cast, or how it changes the mood, changes the color, changes the depiction. I look at, when I've flown, I've looked at the typography of land and what land means to people, what histories mean to people, because I don't use materials for material's sake or color for color's sake. If I'm using a particular color, I'm using that color because it has a psychological effect on a person. If I'm using, say, like with the Shoshugiban treatment and the burnt wood, one, age-old technique based in Japan. Two, it's used in order to be sort of like a natural polyurethane and a protected sealant. So that to me is a symbol of protection. Then you have to set it on fire, where fire has a lot of meanings, warmth, it's something that able for people to nourish themselves with cooking, desire, destruction, creation. So all these things. So basically what I do is I take all these elements with these mixed materials, and I attempt to take the science, the psychology, the symbolism, the histories of these things, and create my own language. Now, that's the art speak.
No,
I just like making stuff.
But it is so true to your work. Like when your pieces were here, so we were fortunate to have Cleveland as part of a group show, which he doesn't do very often. And we had 3 pieces, and there was this piece that every time I walked by, every angle I looked at it, every distance, it changed, and it was so moving. Like I couldn't take my eyes off it, and believe me, if I could have afforded it, it would be in my home right now. there is something, what you're describing, it might be art speak, but it also exists in the piece. So sometimes there's art speak and you're like, okay, I don't really get it.
Well, I mean that, but then also too, like one reason I like using materials, because it's like I've always, the biggest thing, the main thing that my father ever taught me, 3 words: figure it out. And I've been a grease monkey ever since I was a kid. Like I've been a mechanic since I was like 6 years old.
Wow.
You know, I've always figured things out. I like materials, and I also I look at how art and art history is, and you're supposed to use this and you're supposed to do that. I'm so staunch on I'm going to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it. Just watch this, and using materials that don't typically go together, and then making some kind of way for them to go together. And then even just from just a materials use point, people walking up to the work and be like, like what, I don't, it's chicken wire, it's gold leaf, it's salt, it's resin, it's acrylic, it's aerosol paint, it's a steel grate, it's all this in one piece. It's like, how does this make sense? You know, but I don't know, I pull from whatever is up there. Because I tell people all the time, it's like, I'm nothing but a vessel. Like, everything that I put into a piece, it's floating around up here.
So would you say your process is just intuitive? Like you come at a piece and it's
very unconscious and guided. Yeah, like this is, you know, because I'm a spiritual person, and you know, this is, I'm being puppeteered by something up here. Whatever it is that manifests itself in my work, it's floating around. It's chosen me to come through, and I'm sort of like the middleman. I do the work to make it tangible and make it physical, and then when the piece tells me to stop, I stop, you know, because I don't know. And that's one thing too of why I've gravitated so much towards abstraction and conceptual, because my biggest thing is I want people to think. I don't care if people like or love my work. I don't care if people dislike it or hate it. I just want people to think. See something, think. You know, process it. There's been several times that, you know, people will, you know, look at the piece from one angle and not like it, and then look at it from another angle and see something totally different, like, oh, I never saw this before. Being able to process those two stance and come to some kind of other realization, that's all I want my work to do. That's the only thing that I'm supposed to do. You know, I tell people, you know, I've said before, people look for their purpose in life. The best that I've figured out is, you know, they say that some people are sheep and some people are wolves. My purpose is I'm here to save the sheep when I'm not training the wolves.
interesting.
So I let everything go full circle, and I just, like I said, my hands are just the physical manifestation of whatever's going on up here, and I put it on the surface.
So I'm glad you brought up abstract art and abstraction, because for those of you who don't know, Cleveland is also going to be our guest juror for an adjunct exhibit in the rest of the Art Center called Abstraction. And we are looking at that as an opportunity for you to share your vision of what abstract art means in a bigger context. I mean, we know what it means, you know, abstract is, you know, non-realistic, you know, but it is so much more than that. And so we're so excited for you to inspire other artists with what your ideas of what that looks like.
And hopefully, and you know, it's cyclical. Hopefully, you know, I'll be inspired as well. You can learn anything from anybody. I mean, some of the most sage advice or words I've ever heard came from the most unsuspecting of people. You know, literally. I mean, the way society is, we're conditioned to look at people in certain lights depending on their stature in life. And literally, I mean, I'm just walking down the street one day, And one of the most profound things that somebody said was it came from a guy asking for change. And he only said like 4 words, and it was just like, and it was just so profound. So yeah, hopefully, the ideas and the work and the depictions in the minds of the other artists, hopefully that'll permeate my thoughts and I can gain from it just like they can gain from me.
Well, that's what I love about art.
Yeah.
Because it levels the playing field, and we're all creative process and energy and light and dark, and it's just the foundation of everything.
Well, it kind of levels the playing field. I'm competitive.
Well, I can compete with that. You are definitely, your work is up here. So we, let's wrap it up for now and talk again as the work is getting more and more completed. So Cleveland is making work specific for this exhibit, which is amazing for us too, and will be both exciting and a challenge, and I can't wait to see it here on our walls, and we're just thrilled to have you as a part of our TAC family, and it's an honor.
Well, like I said, I'm honored the fact that you all saw the work the first time in the group show and were instantly like, we got to do something. Where some of my duality comes from is, as far as being an artist and my work ethic and all of that, by no means am I humble about that at all. I know I'm good. I know I work hard. I know this, that, and the other. But when it comes down to people and their appreciation for my work, especially being in the genre of conceptual and abstract, it's like people don't have to get it. You don't have to like it. You don't, and as much as, like I said earlier, I don't really care. The caveat to that is when people do like and appreciate the work, I'm extremely humbled because you didn't have to take the time to pay attention to what this guy or was it from South Side of Chicago did, but you did, and it resonates with people. So when it affects people like that, I'm extremely humbled, and I look forward to having my work here, and we'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Oh, I'll be working. It's gonna be insane.
I can't wait to see everything. So, thank you.
Thank you.